Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hey, have you ever had an issue where something kind of showed up and then it went away and it showed up again? And well, we're having something like that with the Salvage Title C5. And so what I'm going to do in this episode is try to diagnose it and fix it. I've got a good idea of what's going on. We're going to find out if that's in fact what it is. So I'm glad you could be here for this one. Okay, so here we are, Salvage Title C5. We've got it to duplicate what it did before. I don't know if you can hear it in the background or not. The engine is running and it's not making any nasty noises or anything else. What happens is this oil pressure switch has gone bad, and so what it does is it gives us, let me swing it around here and show you, it tells us to check gauges, and you can see in the window that it says low oil pressure, and of course the gauge over there is reading 0. Now when it feels like it, the gauge will probably go back up and peg at 80 psi. If you can hear the engine in the background, like I said, it's not making any nasty noises, which is good, because those nasty noises would mean that the oil pump is bad and the engine is by now junk. But we're not hearing that, and so what that tells us is that that oil pressure switch is bad, and that oil pressure switch is notorious on these C5s for going bad. So that's going to be our next project with the Salvage Title C5, is to change out that oil pressure switch. Just a little note, as it did it, it went ahead and went up to of course it pegged the gauge at 80, and then down in the window it is saying oil pressure is at 79. Oh, there it goes now. Yep, now it's dropped back down. You can see the gauge crashing, and that's where we're at. Oh, wait a minute. Now we're going back up. 102. Oh, we're going back down. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, we're going back up again. Hey, let's play the oil pressure roller coaster. Anyway, we know the oil pressure is good. We know the gauge is bad, or not the gauge, but the oil pressure switch is bad, or the sending unit. And so we'll replace that, and hopefully that'll solve our problem. All right, so it is the next day. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on the actual work. We're going to start by removing the wiper blades, and then we'll remove this cowl piece, and that should give us access to the cutaway part that's underneath the cowl to be able to get to that oil pressure switch, oil pressure sending unit, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm going to get initially is a couple of panel tools to pop the little caps out so we can get to the nuts to pull the wiper blades off, disconnect the hoses. They'll be done and out of the way, and then pull this cowl piece off. And it looks like it's got about probably, if we're lucky, maybe half of the little retainer pins that are in there, so should make it a little bit easier for us to get this thing apart. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've got this body panel tool. It goes right underneath this little cap. That little cap pops off. We'll set it to the side, and then I've got a 1/2 inch socket. And we'll pull that off of there. Okay. Got the nut stuck in there a little bit. Pretty common, but I don't want to do that over the windshield because I don't want this nut to come flying out of here and chip the windshield. So what I'm going to do is just kind of stick the nut down in this plastic cap, and so it's a place to retain it, so they're both together, and so you don't lose either piece. So set that there, and that wiper blade, wiper arm should come right off. Pop that off, and just that easy. All right, I'm gonna go around to the other side, and then we'll work at getting this whole thing off and out of the way. Right now, these are the little retainers in this cowl piece, and it's just one of those typical they push in, expand that thing out a little bit. So I'm going to pop out the ones that are here. There's one in the middle. There we go. Sometimes they can be a little bit difficult to get to kind of pop up. Okay, so that's loose where that needs to be. Let me get the other side. I want to be careful with this piece because it does have a little bit of broken whatnot. So and I am not going to pull this thing all the way out because I don't need to. So I'm just going to kind of set this across the engine. And then I'm going to grab a flashlight and take a peek down in there. Okay, here's what, let me see if we can get this in here to where you can see it. Basically, no, the way that light is going to be the problem. Okay. Get my fingers in there a little bit. Now, way down in there where that red hose goes into that clamp, just to the left of where the hose clamp is, or towards the front of the vehicle, way down in there is, maybe you can see it now, if I do that. I'm looking through the camera so I can't quite see what my fingers are doing. Yeah, down underneath there where these kind of two wires go in, that is the pressure switch sending unit piece. So what we're going to have to do, and unfortunately you won't see this on camera, so at least you can see what it is, but what we're going to have to do is pull that connector off, and it looks to me now like maybe the switch isn't the problem, but possibly that connector is, because it's loose. I mean, it's loose in the top side of that connector, and I don't know what type of a job it would be to get all the way down there to it. And so when we pull that connector out, I'm going to see what the end of it looks like, and possibly maybe I can put on some silicone or something to seal it up so that it'll be okay for a while. But that's kind of where we're at with that. Like I said, it's too tight to be able to get the camera down in there and see it while we're doing it, and so this is what you get to see of it. So, but I am going to take a minute to show you kind of, normally, let's get this so we can see it. Normally there's a whole cowl piece that runs across here, and so what they've done, I guess we can see it okay, is they've cut out that square, and so that gives you the ability to access, to access that switch down in there. And so kind of a nice thing to do. Some people maybe not that excited about cutting a hole in their cowl, but it makes the job a lot easier, that's for dang sure. So basically what we'll have to do is pull that clip off, drop a socket over the top of it, and then unscrew it, and then put a new one in, screw it back down in there, and put the clip back on, and it's done. But like I said, that wire, it looks like that connector may be broken, and if that's the case, we're going to have to do a little bit of work on that to maybe not have it be broken, or do the best we can with it. So anywho, that's where we're at. More to follow. Okay, so what I'm going to explain here, because for some reason my audio decided that it didn't want to play, is this is actually the oil pressure switch or oil pressure sending unit. That top part that I'm pointing at right there is the where the plug plugs in, and so that's where the wires and whatnot looked odd, looked like they might have been broken or whatnot, and so that may be part of the issue. But what I did was I went ahead and siliconed the tops of those, so when it plugged back in, it should have connected and it should have held it all together. And so anyway, that's the old oil pressure sending unit. It is out, and so the new one is going to go in. And so really pretty easy. Okay, so here I stand with kind of a dumb look on my face because I'm trying to talk into a microphone that isn't actually listening to me. But anyway, this is the new oil pressure switch or sending unit. It has a little bit of thread seal on it already, so it just needs to be screwed back in, torqued down, and or tightened down, and then the plug back into it. And it has a little bit of silicone on top of those plug wires, so they should seal up, should work out good. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me on this microphone issue. This has been an experience. So hey, thanks for being here. Okay, here we are a couple of weeks or more removed from actually doing the oil pressure switch replacement, sending unit replacement. Seen it called the oil pressure switch, seen it called the oil pressure sending unit. I've always called it the sending unit. It is what it is, but I think we're all talking about the same thing. Anyway, I did the job, had some camera issues, had some audio issues, had some other issues with it, and so that's why I'm reshooting the outro on it now. So thanks for bearing with me. And through the narration part of it there during the video, that was interesting. I've never done that before. Got a new microphone specifically so that I could do that and use the content and hopefully use it in the future as needed. And again, that was fun. So anyway, let's keep moving on because I don't want to drag this out for too long. But I appreciate everybody being here so far, and appreciate you sticking with me and with Yellow Jacket Garage. If there's other content that you would like to see, please say something in the comments below, or if you need to, you could shoot me an email at yellowjacketgarage@gmail.com, and I'd prefer if it was in the comment section below of this video or any other video for that matter that I've done, and trying to make sure I touch on all the bases. The actual job itself, you can do it without having that hole cut in the cowl. You just have to take off the fuel rail covers, and you'll have to take off the fuel rails to be able to access the area down in there. It is really tight, and that's as evidenced by not being able to get a camera down in there to actually see what I was doing. I wish I could have, but it just was not possible, at least for me to do it. So anyway, it was fun, as always. All of these things are fun. I've got a couple more videos that I've yet to edit and get posted. I've got, I think, after this one, 2 or 3 more for the Salvage Title C5 before it hit the streets and went to its new owner. So try to get those out here pretty quick. I've got a couple of Mercedes videos to come out too. So I have stuff. I've just been being more relaxed than I should be. My point is to try to have fun with the channel. I don't want to create a job. I don't want it to be too much like work because, face it, I know I'm never getting rich off of YouTube. I'm just doing it for fun. But that's why I appreciate everyone being here with me. So anyway, that said, I think that's it. Let's get out of here and let me get this video edited and posted. And as always, thanks for watching Yellow Jacket Garage, and we'll see you on down the road.